Things I would have done differently looking back. Time management. This is, I think, a big one. I would have started much sooner in the process. I spent as much time as I can learning, or just trying to find resources and trying to figure out what to do. That's half of the battle, is finding good information. Um, and some of it is just limited to what's available. Thankfully, right before we started, I was able to get this publication, which is very helpful because it gives like a walkthrough and step by step, and it gives testimonials, and it was just good. And I realized how we should have started doing some of the like glyphosate throughout the summer instead of, I looked at it as a fall project, and I wish I had known more, so I would have been more active in the summer. So there's always just the limitation of what you know and what you understand. So it is an improvement from what I had last time when I was thinking about it, and I thought, well, seeds grow in the spring, so you plant them in the spring. So at least this year I knew about cold stratification, but I didn't know about field preparation. So it's just a learning process. The other thing I didn't know about the field was what kind of field we had, what we were looking at. And they have several options in here for what, because you treat it differently. And it wasn't until we had the guy from the Kansas Parks and Wildlife come out, and he told us that it was mostly brome. And then I knew to read here, but I had been reading all the other sections because I didn't know what brome was. So limited. You just have to know what you're working with in order to do it right. And sometimes it takes time to figure those details out. And then all that time just kind of pushes things back. The other thing that pushes things back is weather. We can't control the weather. Strong winds, the times when we wanted to burn, that made it too, made me too nervous to go out in strong wind. Or heavy rains, which pushed everything back, pushed the schedule back. So we had to wait for it to dry. So there's a lot of things that we couldn't do, just waiting for the circumstances to work out, that pushed the schedule farther than we wanted. Obviously, I wasn't planning on a pregnancy, and life happens. So there's things like that you gotta just roll with it, right? Go where the wind blows and grow where you're planted. So you just gotta take those things as they come. But they all affected what we were able to do and the timeline that we were working with. I would have liked to have done a second application of glyphosate if possible, but we just ran out of time, and we didn't. We have a rototiller, but we didn't rototill because of time, and time and energy. We didn't have it. So the seed got broadcast in December, and it's been getting a lot of good cold stratification. And so, take the good with the bad and hope for the best, basically, is what we're doing. So as far as the seeds and forbs ordering, that's another thing I would have started looking at much sooner had I known. By the time we were talking with people and looking around, things were either sold out that were within, that 400-mile radius, or it was so overwhelming and different, like the way that the seed ordering operations work is not necessarily what I was used to with working with online companies. So we just decided to go with, native, Midwest native packages that weren't necessarily within that 400-mile radius, but that had native species, and it was pre-mixed, and it was simple, and they were available. A lot of places were sold out by the time that we were looking in, I think we ordered it in October, if not September. So I didn't think it was that late, but apparently I was wrong. So that's one thing I would definitely do differently. And I would try and find someone who's done this and just walk through that ordering process with them, because it's confusing and overwhelming. And it's important. Like, that's, what you're doing is all this preparation for those seeds and forbs. So you want it, that's the big payoff. So you want it to be, what you're hoping for. So ultimately, I was very satisfied with the seeds and forbs and the combinations that we ordered. And I think that it'll be fine. We'll see what comes up. The field's out that window, so I keep looking out there. Sorry. And I'm excited. I'm not too worried about it. If we can, grow bulbs from Holland that get shipped from overseas, I think, again, I totally get the whole philosophy behind the natives and from their native region, and that are hardy for that particular region. I don't doubt that, but working with what we can, I think it'll be okay. We'll see. It's all a big experiment. But I wish I'd started researching the seeds and forbs earlier and had done that in tandem with somebody who's already done this. But again, I don't know anyone. So I just work with what you've got and do the best you can. I think the main thing is to not let the limitations stop or overwhelm. I think that's my big learning thing is, yeah, it would have been nice to do it perfectly. It would have been nice to follow the textbook. It would have been nice to have, support. But that's just wasn't our situation. And as we do more, we're growing those things. It's not just our understanding that's growing, but my resources are growing, the contacts are growing. So it's a process. It's not going to be especially if this is a first time thing, just like go with it and grow with it, because it's a learning process. It's a learning curve. And if you're starting out where we're starting out, which is with zero experience in growing a tall grass prairie or wildflower field, and really little to no contacts that we had before this, just don't let that stop you. Even this year, with all we've put into it, we look at it as this is a learning year, and we're doing the little bit that we can with what we had available to us, and we'll see what comes from it, and we'll learn from that. And if we decide in the future that we want to do things differently on a larger scale, then we can, with all this background that we've gained and the contacts that we're making, we can do a more experienced job. But I've been reading these books by Douglas Tallamy, Bringing Nature Home and Nature's Best Hope, and that's one of my big takeaways is to just do something. What I feel is that it's time to be bold on behalf of the pollinators, especially the monarchs. And my encouragement from all of this process is to just go for it. Plant that milkweed, plant those natives. It doesn't have to be perfectly done. You don't have to know everything. And honestly, just from reading the Xerces reports, the fall migration of 2020, the monarchs can't wait for us to do it perfectly. So every little bit helps. It would be nice to do things, by the book, and it's super nice to have resources so you can do them and follow them, and not just, you know, throw seeds out, but have a plan. But also, it's okay to do what you can, and it's almost necessary. Don't let the fear of doing it wrong keep you from doing what you can. You know, the pollinators, the native wildlife, the insects, you know, they need refuge now. They need food now. So it's just going to be a process, but you'll be that much farther along next year. And your yard, your area will be better this year for the little bit that you did than waiting for things to be done exactly right. That's my philosophy, at least. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it all turns out over the next couple of years.